near Corydon, Indiana, a Buddhist monastery. Well, I grew up in Louisville. When I grew up in Louisville, for me as a Catholic, Methodist churches were foreign. And so when I moved back here after being away for almost 30 years, I discovered there's a Buddhist monastery in southern Indiana, in the cornfields over there. Was quite an amazing thing that happened. And so the monastery of 10,000 Buddhas is over there in Corydon, and Thich Nhat is the founder. And if you haven't had a chance to visit yet, it's a wonderful experience to drive through the cornfields and all of a sudden come upon these beautiful Buddhist statues in a place of serenity on a hilltop in southern Indiana. So we're very grateful for your presence here in our community of Louisville. I know you travel widely with Houston, programs in Houston, Houston's your primary other place, isn't it?
Yeah, we come back and forth.
Back and forth. So, but I'm grateful that you could come each year to share your experience, your wisdom, and your passion for the inner life and spiritual life with us. So we're very grateful. And welcome to all of you. And I want to apologize because I need to leave. I have a funeral I have to go to. A young man, a friend of mine's son, dropped dead at 37. So that's important that I go to the funeral. So I apologize to you all for that. But Donna will be here to take care of anything that you need. I think all of you know where the restrooms are if you need those. But you're in good hands. So take on that. Well, thank you for coming.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Joe. And thanks for coming today. Most every year, I come here to share with you the Buddhist meditation practice. Or sometimes Reverend Joe took some of you to Gordon, Indiana, to practice first. How many of you have been there before? I'm not going to ask you. See you again there. And how about how many of you have met me before? Okay. So every year we have different people. Yeah, actually I got back from Houston and teaching there, and teaching University of Houston, and teaching at IUS too, and other IU campuses like IU South Bend, IU Kokomo. This is my online programs. I've been here for many years, since 2001, right before September 11. I got to Gordon to have that monastery, and a few years later I got appointed with Reverend Joe's, one of the best friends in the area, to share the spiritual experience. So again, thank you for coming today.
Can you speak just a little bit louder, because in the back they can't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So, no, you're fine.
Oh, okay.
You're fine. So I thought I'd catch you.
Oh, can you hear me? I will try to. Most of the time I don't want to raise my voice. My voice. So today, I think that I will share with you some knowledge and experience of meditation. But before that, let me ask you, how many of you are doing meditation regularly? Okay, so every day? How about every day?
No.
Okay. Every other day? Okay. All right. Once per week? Okay. All right. That's good. And so probably almost half of you are doing meditation every day. This is great. And for me, meditation is like the medicine or the food, the mental food. Without meditation, sometimes it's not easy for me to go for a day. Because with meditation, we have to calm the mind to things that I have to do. For example, even come here to share with you the meditation knowledge experience, and the experience. I need to calm down my mind before to do things. But anyway, so I'd like to share with you things that I think most of you may recognize us, but somehow we like to review again. I hope that you can gain some knowledge about things I present today. But most of them probably it's not new. Let me start with this. Okay. I want to talk about what we call before, during, and after meditations. How we construct, that how we prepare our body and mind before doing meditation. And while we are doing meditation, how we can control but purify our mind while we do meditation. There's many different process, and of course after that, after meditation. So I think most of you have learned or been taught by many people, especially experienced meditators, but still right now I want to review with you. So I will go step by step. But before that, let me go back here. Now, let me ask you the basic question, and of course I think most of you recognize us too. Why do we meditate? Why? Why do we need to do meditation? Why?
For health.
For health. Okay.
Peace of mind.
Peace of mind, yes.
Awareness.
Awareness, yes.
To understand ourselves.
Understand ourselves, yes.
Enlightenment.
Yes?
Enlightenment.
Okay, yes.
To be free.
Be free. Okay. That's good, thank you. That's our purpose. And remember, meditation is for everyone, not for Buddhists, not for a person, or for everyone. That's as much as we know the tools how to practice it, it will be useful. Otherwise, it's not easy for us to do things as the way we want to. We even pursue to our spiritual inclination. Or let me go back here, the basic one. In our life, this is psychological needs, like we need food, we need shelter, and so forth. This is the basic needs, what we call right? Martial hierarchies of needs. And then safety, love, esteem, and self-actualization. Now, one thing I want to trigger the question that you may think about from morning until night, especially early morning. When we wake up, what are the things that pop up in our mind? What are the concerns that are pop up in our mind? Food, drink, shelter, of course, that's the basic one. Now, of course, we concern more about our jobs, our safety, our children, our spouse, all kinds of concerns. That's why we're not peaceful. Our mind not peaceful. When we can wake up, oh, I have to go to work, I have to go to teach, I have to take care of my son, and so forth and so forth. That's the first start of the morning, the first start of the day. Of course, as a human, we have this kind of obligations and responsibilities, but still, that is the first start of the day. Not talking about, we may concern about our jobs. We don't know. The economy may more up and down, right? And one day, we don't know. Our boss may say sorry, pack up and go, right? We don't know. We don't know the uncertainty of life. That's why we worry a lot. We have that kind of anxiety, not talking about depression and so forth, but we talk about the anxiety, the worriness, the concern every morning when we wake up. That's why we have to have some tools to cool that mind out, to cool that concern, to cool that anxiety, so that we can have fresh mind to start to to do things at the beginning of the day. That's what we talk about here, meditation. Without that, it's not easy to compromise because we have all kind of concern. This kind of this is the primary one, but still, this is in the lump sum that we have that kind of concern. Even before we leave the house, do I turn on the security camera or so forth? So all kind of concern in our mind. And even while we're driving, concerned about the traffic and so forth. And that's why in our life, that peace of mind is so important, no matter who we are, no matter what profession we have. And so without the peace of mind, it's not easy for us to go for the day. Yeah. So that's why I want to start with this one first to see that this is essential for everyone, regardless of the religion we follow. And this again, this is, can you see? It's blurry. Yeah, it's blurry. Okay, here. Yeah, we're concerned about the external exchange object. It's like this department too. Body sense, object, thinking, mental, and so forth. And here. So when we deal with things in and out of our body, sensual modalities, we see the mental image, we hear the mental talk, we feel, we have body emotion, that's in and out. We see the visual impression, the picture, the image of the building, the tree, and so forth. We hear the sound, or like you hear my voice. We have sensation and so forth. Now here, where we see the anything like caution and so forth, it may stimulate our sense organs. Oh, we're so surprised and spark this impact to our body reaction, this impact to our memory, how we handle the situation in the emergency case and so forth. Here, this I think I just want to review with you step by step, and I come back to the thing that I want to mention about how we control our body and mind before, during, and after meditation. That's the main subject that I'm talking today. Here we have all kinds of things. We're so busy. That's why we stress out. We're so busy that that even while we're driving, we're taxing, and somehow it's now become a habit. And while we checking email and so forth, we eat it there, right? And it's all kind of things it pop up in our mind here. We're concerned here, and we mindful. Our mind full of things, not mindfulness. All kind of things that we're concerned. That's just one here. Yeah. So that's why meditation is so important for us to sail out those kind of clouds. That's why, and I think most of you know benefit, and we just mentioned recently the purpose of doing meditation. Yeah, and we need to center ourselves. Most of the time, when we chase after things, when we're concerned about our job, our food, and so forth, sometimes we get lost ourselves. Sometimes we could not know how to center ourselves. That's why when we deal with people, let's say when we have job interview, if we have, let's say, a scattered mind, we could not focus much about the question that the interviewer want to ask us. Or even when you interview other people to work for you, right? So if you have scattered mind, you may not pay attention much about what they respond to your questions and so forth. So anyway, so that's we need in our life. We need to have the kind of centering ourselves. We need to recognize ourselves, like some of you mentioned. Right? We need to know ourselves before we know others. It's not easy for us to know others before we know ourselves. It's like experience, and when we heard this sense is that, and only when we fall, we recognize the painful, how it's painful when we fall down, to understand when other people are falling down. You understand that? So that's mean when we have that experience, we understand other people when they come across that kind of painful situation and so forth. So again, we need to know ourselves before we know all those. We need to center ourselves. Otherwise, if we couldn't control ourselves, what happened again? We be controlled by all the sense, how people give comment on us and so forth. That's why centering is so important. And that is the reason why we do meditation, so that we can have the mindful response instead of careless response.
Excuse me?
Yes.
Can you put the slides on full screen?
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
On slideshow.
Oh, this slideshow. Oh, this one.
Yes.
Oh, that's
Thank
good.
you.
Oh, thank you. That's good. Yeah. Oh, thank you. So that is the cycle of mindful response. So when we have any event that trigger our mind, and we appraise that, and we have the perception to think about, and the thought may come with endorsement, whether it's good or bad, or depend on our belief, and this is called self-awareness. If we are mindful, yeah, we recognize them, and we have the choice. To have the choice whether we accept or not. For example, if someone gives you some comment about the way you say, the way you talk and so forth, you have a choice to accept that or not. Most of the time, if we don't know how to control ourselves, sometimes we cannot have that choice. We're so angry if they give bad comment, that's right. So, but we have a choice. When we calm down our mind, we can recognize that choice. Because everything in Buddhist view starts from the mind. How we control our mind, how we let our mind scatter, this is our choice. Right, so again, without mindfulness, whenever someone do something or say something, we react right away. And most time we make mistake, right? But here in meditation, whenever someone say something or anything happen, we be aware of things. And of course, we have more choices when we calm down and to respond in the proper way, in the mindful way, in the wise way too. That's what, when we act right way, we have a short side. We don't have time to contemplate, and we can raise some kind of problems too, right? Poor communication. We may misunderstand what people want to say, want to explain. But if we respond in mindful way, yes, we recognize what they want to present, that what they want to share and so forth, here in a mindful way. When we do meditation, that mindfulness, and for our seeing, hearing, smelling, and so forth, again, we do it in a mindful way. Like when we get back from work, our spouse, whoever cook food for us, whether it's just delicious or not, yes, we cook, and we appreciate the effort to cook the food for us, instead of jumping on conclusion. Oh, that's not my food. I don't like that food, and so forth. You may hurt them, right? So that's why we need to be mindful with things that we interact with other people. Again, so mindfulness helps us to develop this present times awareness, and of course, most of you know, right? The problems that we encounter every movement of our life is we concerned about. We remember things about the past, and we concern about future, but we lost the present. When we think about the past, we feel regret, right? We say, oh, if I have a chance to do this and so forth. But when we think about the future, wow, I have to do this and that, but somehow we lost the present moment. Of course, we need to make arrangement. Let's say we have to go to see doctor. You make appointment some 1 week, a week from now, or a month from now. Even it is some major problems without having maybe a couple of months or so forth. But still, that's in our ability. That's we can control it, controllable, manageable times that we can make that kind of time frame for future. But sometimes we don't know. The next minute when we step out this room, this hall, something happened. We don't know. I don't know whether you have young children or not. Most of the time, when we let them to drive the car on the street, you know that feeling, right? While they driving on the street, somehow our hearts are pounding. We're concerned about them, but somehow if we have that kind of worries, overpower ourselves, it may be harmful for them too, especially if we call them a lot. And it may be distraction for them too. Anyway, so that is and we know that because of love the parents, the grandparents, right? We care for them, and we will care by our parents, our grandparents. But sometimes, especially for young children, they see they found out that the parents that are overprotective. Is that right? And anyway, so that because we think so much ahead of times, that's why we worry. Things that we worry sometimes is unnecessary. That's why we need to really be present moment so that we can know, we can be aware of things, we can have kind of clarity and so forth. And with that kind of clarity, we accept things that the way they are. That's what the mindfulness is for. I think most of you know. So here, again, for the practice, when I taught one round in our practice, we go back to do the thought, go back to the breath and so forth. Let me skip. How can they go back there? So I want to use back and forth.
Yeah.
No. I mean, let's go back to the
Heat
PDF file.
escape.
Oh, escape.
Which one?
The ESC escape button.
Oh, okay, escape. All right, thank you. I'm not tech guy, sorry. All right, good. Yeah. Let me go. Okay, now here's the thing that I want to mention too. Okay, so let me go back here. What we talk about. So here, I just go over why we do meditation. Why is this the least for us to do meditation? Why it's so important for us to do meditation? So that we center ourselves, so that we can really present moment, so that we can accept things like the way they are, and so forth. So that we can have self-confidence in ourselves. So that's what I want to review one more time. I think most of you understand that concept. Now, let me go back here. Talking about before meditation. Before I move on this one, let me ask you, before you do meditation, do you have any kind of preparation? I just sit there and do it. Yes?
I have some readings, some poetry.
Read poetry, okay.
That I read.
Okay, anyone else before meditation? Let me ask you further. How many of you have you sit for more than 30 minutes? 1 hour? No? 30 minutes, okay. Yeah. All right, yes, sometimes we sit. So the longer we sit, in my own experience, the better. Of course, sometimes we have to manage the times too. If we really focus our mind while we do meditation, the longer we sit, it's better. But if we could not focus our mind, we sit there and we let our mind wander around the universe, it's waste of time. So again, so depend on the quality. That's why sometimes, or most of the time, the people, the beginners, to do 1 minute at a time. Yeah, when we really focus on that minute, we move on to the next one, 1, 2, 3, and 4, so that we won't waste our time. But anyway, so if you really focus on that 30 minutes, that's great. Or move on to 1 hour, a few hours. But here, like doing everything, doing anything, you need to have the some kind of preparation. Like before you prepare for lunch, before you cook lunch, you have to be prepared. You go to Walmart, Kroger, and so forth, buy some kind of food that you want to buy to cook for lunch or dinner. And before you cook, you have to make some kind of preparation. So there is meditation. So again, how many of you, beside this, you read poetry, long or short?
I have about 3 pretty kind of short
Okay.
poems.
How many of you prepare before you do meditation now?
I usually meditate in the evening, so I review the day,
Okay.
and once I have that behind me, then I can be more clear to meditate.
Good. Anyone of you? Anyone choose? Let me put this way. Let's say why we doing business. Let's say we get back from work, and out of that day you're so tired. All kind of things, all kind of conflict, all kinds of things you have to deal with. Can you sit still when you got back from work? Can you sit still? No way. No way. No way. So most of the time we need to relax ourselves. Yes?
Music?
Listen music. Okay. You know, it's like some transition periods from the mood of active mode to the passive mode and so forth. So we need to have the kind of preparations. So let's say while we running around the park for our trekking, and we can assist down and focus right way. We need to settle down our mind, our body, and so forth. That's why before meditation is so important that if we eat too much, it's not easy to concentrate, especially at noon time. How do you do meditation noon time? No, about early morning, late at night before you go to bed. That's why before you go to bed, you like to remember why that.
Because I feel like the day is done, and it's just a good way for me to know that I don't have to do any of the chores, or I have nothing else to do.
Yeah.
So that's probably why.
Okay. Good then. All right, most of us we want to start meditation right early in the morning, right? So fresh mind, so that we would not have much thing to concern in our mind. When we don't have much thing to concern, it's easy for us to focus. Otherwise, when we sit down there, like we just got back from work, we sit there, oh, all kind of things that's still living in our mind is the racing car, right? This and that and so forth. That's why we need to prepare for meditation. First, talking about the body. Don't eat too much, especially during noon time. For me, I cannot do meditation during noon time. I have to rest. Of course, we know don't eat some kind of carbohydrate food absent from my altering substance. You know, right? It's harmful for ourselves, like coffee, alcohol, and so forth. And even it's with my own experience. If I'm so tired on that day, it's better for me to take a nap. Physically, take a rest for a while before I sit there. Most of the time, people will say, "Oh, when I sit there and fall asleep and so forth." Yeah, this is common sense. Why? Because during the day, the whole day, from 8 to 5, we work physically and mentally, right? So our mind is so tired. Perhaps a lot of things to concern our mind, and our body need to rest. That's why when we got back from work and sit on the chair right away, most of the time we fall asleep because we could not have enough energy to sit still. That's why it's better to take a nap, only a few minutes. It's up to you until you refresh your body, until you refresh your mind. And this is the body. Let me go down here. You can read for right? Okay. Okay, so again, so I think this is common sense. Sit on the chair, is that full and so forth. Find the stable position where you sit in the chair, on the cushion. So depend upon what how you would like to sit. Again, this is your own choice, personal choices. No one is no one is similar. No one is the same. So that's up to you. That's your own choice. And you need to especially straighten the spine, the back, too comfortable clothes to wear. Right? So if you want to sit longer, very common sense, you choose the clothes that you wear so to feel comfortable with. Don't wear something that's too tight. Because even sit for 5 minutes or 10 minutes in this that type of stillness, sometimes it's uneasy for us if we have that kind of uncomfortable clothes. And yes, great. I circuit display, especially at home. For our Buddhist people, I recommend them to have a vertical meditation room. Do you have it? Do you have prayer room at home? No. Oh, but you have this. Okay, that's good. This what I used to have on this like that. An island for our spiritual mind, for our spiritual life. Because during the day we're so busy because we have to deal with all kinds of things. But when we get back from work and we just enter that room, everything should be calmed down because of that kind of environment. And yes, on the weekend or during the weekday, you may stop by the church and so forth, but still, the home is where you relax on mostly. So if you rate that type of room, the prayer room, or the meditation room, that's an island for your spiritual life. So simple. Yeah. So that's why we need to create a sacred space for ourselves and find some quiet area. Of course, we know that in meditation we can do any place, right? But still the ideal one or the peaceful place is a quiet place. Maybe the quiet room or the backyard, the garden, and so forth, so that it can be helpful for us to calm our mind. Yeah, not too dark, not too light. Have enough fresh air, low to nature is better. Like the park, the garden, and so forth. Yeah. And this one again, talking about the mind again. Meet the mind watching movie before meditation. Meet the mind, I don't know, it's different from children, they play computer game a lot, right? But talk about movie. Oh, I think music too. Music, if you choose some kind of soft music, this is okay, but if let's say, what happens if we watch movie before we meditate, what do you think? What do you think? It may affect your mind because it sees. The scenes, the conversation, and so forth. It may impact our mind. That's not easy for us to calm the mind. And again, meet the mind, engage in argument, conflict, and so forth. It's common sense, right? But if we just sit there, even we close our mind, even we sit on the chair and so forth, but we think about things that we have said with other people, or something that make us be angry, or some conflict that we couldn't handle. There's no way for us to focus the mind. That's why we try to be the mind. And of course, that's why many boys to choose the early morning when we just wake up. We don't have this kind of junk for a day, so we can get fresh start. Yeah, that's the thing. That's so important. And again, before that, we need to forgive ourselves and others. We need to forgive ourselves, whichever things we made mistakes, just forgive ourselves and forgive other people. When we let go of those thoughts, much easier for us to focus. And even generally compassion to ourselves and others. It's so important in other relations. Before we really focus our mind, just think about when we sit there and we think someone whoever, our spouse, our relatives, or whoever, that step on our foot, there's no way for us to compromise until we let go of those thoughts. In order to let go of those thoughts, we need to forgive them. We need to generate our compassion for ourselves and others, so that everything really calm down. And many of us, if we could not recognize this thing, if we don't have this kind of preparation, it's not easy to sit still. Is that right? It's not easy. When we think about all kinds of conflict, all kind of argument, all kind of problems, we deal with these people, that people. And sometimes we sit there, we thought about those people. We used to say, oh, unfair. It's unfair for me to deal with them, and so forth. Until we forgive them, until we forgive ourselves, until we generate our compassion toward ourselves and others. And this is universal. And that's what I mentioned about in the preparation and generate equanimity to recognize something of negative thought. Let go of negative thought. Whichever didn't happen, just let go. And to really focus our mind on the present moment. Whichever didn't happen, we just let go. And of course, sometimes it's not easy to let go of negative thoughts. Sometimes not easy to let go of anxiety. The thing that we're concerned about our jobs, about stock market, and so forth. So it's not easy, but still, in order to focus, we need to have that kind of preparation for our mind. And yeah, we need to, and even in our Buddhist tradition, before I do meditation, yes, I need to generate that, but at least I need to, you can say we pray. We pray that we are not the one that getting benefit from this meditation session, but we transferring, we spread this kind of benefit toward other people, toward other sentient beings, including human, animals, or invisible beings too. So to that's what we want to do first before we do meditation. Okay. Now, that's for before meditation. Let me go back to again do meditation. Of course, that's what we do here at home and so forth. After we have that kind of mindset, that kind of preparation, then we do the actual practice of meditation. So again, we get to sit comfortably, whichever position. Who can sit and full lotus? Anyone of you? No. Half lotus? Half lotus? It's not important. So any style in Buddhist view, the body is 70%. The prime person is the mind. Whether you sit on the chair, even you sit in the car, you can focus on your mind. Any place, any comfortable position you may like, as long as you can settle your mind. Yeah. So that's here. That's for the first stuff. Just sit patiently, sit still, and they say that it's still like putting a stick into a stick of bamboo, or just keep your head up or your back up, like they just think about the stem that hold your head up, or stacking the vertebrae one on top of the other, or sitting like a mountain or pine trees. Yeah. Take a few deep breaths. Okay, so here, metaphor, this is for the body, and we'll go back to the breath. I trust most of the time we use the breath in meditation, right? Anyone of you do meditation different way? Most.
Sometimes.
Yes.
Sometimes I use a guided meditation.
Okay.
Sometimes just the breath, but sometimes a guided meditation.
You turn on the auto.
The Calm app.
Okay. Oh wow. How many you use apps, meditation app now? Wow. Okay. I haven't used that before. I don't know that. This is It's really, it's convenient now, right? It's free. Most of them is free. Wow, that's good then. About most, so that means most of you do breath meditation, right? It's common. Yes.
The body scan.
Body scan. Yes.
Repeat a phrase.
Right. Good. Anyone of you? Actually, for me too, I do combination. Most of the time, what you call recitation of the mantra recitation. In Buddhist tradition, we have certain type of mantras. Let me mention briefly the reason why I mentioned. I practice as I design the mantra for 30 minutes and do meditation for 1 hour. It's a mantra work is like on the prayer too. It's like every day our mind is so active. For example, if you see my laptop, right? Instantly you think, oh, this is Apple and so forth. It's just really funny. I give lecture every Tuesday evening, and sometimes people say, oh, they think, oh, I'm rich monk. I have laptop. I just want to give you an example. When we sit in, it pop up in our mind, we analyze. In our mind, whichever thing we see, we hear, so we analyze on the spot. For the mantra recitation, for the prayer, especially the mantra has a meaning, but when we say continuously, repeatedly, we go back, we reverse that pattern. Instead of thinking, we go back we reverse the pattern of thinking. Makes sense. We don't think when we recite mantra. That's why we can cleanse our mind. That's one way. Or when we do the prayer too, you get used to prayer to Jesus and so forth. We get used to a prayer and you don't think much. That's the benefit of prayer too. Of course, I do more meditation because that's the way I can ground myself. I can center myself. So I do want to mention briefly. If in future, if I have time, then we can talk about the prayer too. All right. So let's go back here. As at first, we turn our breath. If you know, right? I will talk later on. As a primary preference, as a visitor. What do you mean as a visitor? Breath come and go, right? Inhale, exhale, right? Come and go. And as a swimming door, right? In, out, and so forth. Yeah, let me. I will come back to the breath later on too, and talk about the mind. We have body scan, peaceful place, and here serious, yet light-hearted, alert, yes, relaxed, spontaneous, yes, restrained, engaged, yes, this passionate, cat and mouse metaphor. You understand that cat and mouse metaphor? You understand that?
Chasing thoughts.
Yes, that's why. Yeah, chasing the thought is like the mouse. Our mind, our alertness, our awareness need to watch our thought. It's like the mouse, cat. It's already like the cat watch the mouse. When the cat see the mouse, it jump in. When we see that thought, we in meditation we don't jump to the cat. We recognize. And then, so that's what they are not a metaphor. The cat and mouse is for practice with proper motivation and understanding. Sometimes in the past, I read some articles that some thief came to the house and he's so peaceful, he's so calm to wait for the owner, to wait for the owner to get out of the house before he took things. That's not proper way, right? So we need to have that proper motivation. The motivation or understanding of meditation is for us to calm the mind, to have peaceful mind and peaceful life, to have other people in a peaceful way. That's the proper motivation, proper understanding of life. Yeah. Okay. Allow awareness of breath to gently settle in the body. Allow the breath to enter and live in the body into its own natural flow. It's not easy. It's just the keys. This happened to be so many years. Just the keys. When we inhale, exhale, we need to let our breath flow naturally. How many of you are doing yoga here? Okay. Do you do breath yoga? How do you do breath yoga?
It's with the movements.
Okay. You need to control the breath.
No, I don't usually control. It's just with each movement is a breath.
Okay. How about you?
I like to control breathing, where you breathe through one nostril and exhale through the other. That kind of like focuses me. and brings me
Okay.
back.
How about others? Are you guys do breath yoga? Yes, of course, depend upon how we practice, but with all my own experience, it's better to let the breath move in and out naturally. So I think I presented that before too. Because, if we can let our breath go in and out naturally, we go back to the nature of our body and mind. So that when we sit here, we'll let the breath go into, we have inhalation, the cool air come into our body. If we don't use any force to hold or to pour the air in, we'll be stress-free. Mentally and physically, we relax. And again, when we exhale, we have the exhalation. Naturally, again, if we don't force our breath out, we will be free from stress. Mentally and physically, we don't waste our energy. So that's way we can relax our body and free up stress from our mind. So of course, for yoga meditation, breath yoga is different, right? But sometimes people may need that to focus, right? To focus. And that's great too. But still, in breath meditation, we need to let the breath go in and out naturally, so that we can relax ourselves physically and stress-free mentally. Now, one thing. Let me go back to the PowerPoint. It's so important. Probably. Let me go back here. We reviewed before. If too much, it's either before or after too. Before or doing. If we eat too much, our breath may strain. If we stop, and our mind we fall asleep easily. If too little, we have short breath, or we be hungry, and I might be unstable. If we have food and drink, unhealthy food and drink, we may have illness and confusion too. Is it like this one here? I think I just go because I want to combine with the PowerPoint and PDF files, so we can go back and forth. This is the first. The preparation too, you need to recognize. The intent, yeah. Okay. So if we have healthy food and drink, our breath will be natural, and we have a healthy body, our mind will be still and stable. And again, if we sleep too much, unhealthy too, right? And if we have problem with sleeping, that's a problem too. How many of you have problem with sleeping? Right. So sometimes if you really focus on the mind, if you have practice, I have many friends, not one, not two, but many, they have problem of sleeping. But when they do meditation, it's helped them tremendously. And especially if we oversleep, right? This is to ourselves. If we don't have enough sleep, let me see, it's blurry, right? Sleep depression. It may affect to our mind. It may affect to how we function our life during the day. We know that. I will want to skip this. I want to go back here. I think probably this one you, may know or may not know. Let's say like that we just mentioned. Yes.
If you have trouble sleeping, is it the morning meditation that ultimately will help you, or is it better to meditate before bedtime?
Everyone is different.
If you have trouble sleeping?
Yeah, everyone is different, depending upon how you understand your condition, your self-condition.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes morning is better, sometimes evening. Even for me, the times, the better times, not the best, but the better times between 5 and 7 for me to do meditation. I don't know why. In my understand my experience that probably I get some energy during the day. But for me, that time frame is better for me. Sometimes in the morning I may feel asleep too. And late at night I may be tired. So everyone's different because we have different physical needs and so forth. So you have to make that kind of adjustment. Like how you play piano, everyone's play differently, right? Or even while you're driving the car, everyone's drive differently. No one is the same. So we have to understand how we have the condition of our health and our mentality to make that kind of adjustment. So I cannot say morning better or noon and so forth. So it depends.
Yeah, from falling asleep.
Yeah, you can find out. Anyway, so again, like the thing I just mentioned recently that when we're so busy with at work, when we have a lot of activities during the day, and there's no way for us to jump on to sit down on the chair and calm the mind right away. No way. We have to have agitation, might be scattered and so forth. That's why we need to settle down our body and mind first, and then we need to take a nap. That's very true. So that's just one thing I want to mention. Sit, walk, and stand. That's it. And again, we know that in meditation we do this kind of posture. When we do the walking, in my way, that's meditation. We stand too, and of course, the sitting is more stable. It's just here. That's just the posture. You can lean to the wall, the chair, the wall, and so forth. Here, this is ideal. This ideal posture, 45 degrees. You look down. Sometimes you open the eyes a little bit. Keep the back straight. And then this one, the poor posture. This is good posture. Okay, breath in, and of course, I can review this. I think most of you know the breath is the source of our life. That's why we need to take care of that. And again, if we breathe normally, if we're more healthy, if we have heavy breath, it may affect to the oxygen that we consume in our body, and that's here, the normal diet, normal breathing. And this is critical points for our oxygen level as carbon dioxide oxygen that we consume, we exhale. And here is the breathing pattern. And I think some of us have been in the ER, right? The ER room before, right? So they hook us up to I don't know what do you call the monitor, right? And we see the pattern of our heartbeat. Right? So the slow is better. It depends. Especially if we get older, somehow we have problem with the high blood pressure and so forth. That's why meditation is so helpful. Yeah. And the breath, again, we know the breath is the bridge between the body and the mind. It's so important. And how we relax ourselves is dependent on the breath too. And the breath is thermometers of our body and mind. I want this to go over briefly because I think most of you recognize us already. Right, the breath and the body. The thing I want to mention. But sorry, I need to skip this here. This one here. Probably you may not recognize us yet. Have you heard about this? The breath, windy breath, uneven breath, ordinary breath, subtle breath. This is the name that you share with you today. You heard about this? No. Okay. Now, what we call windy. That means when here we sense the sound of the breath through our nose. That's called windy. So when we sit in meditation, then we sense our breath, we sense the sound of the breath going through our nose. That's indication that our mind has not been settled out yet. Our mind still scattered. You can go back and check out by yourself later on. Right? And the next one we call uneven, catching and halting breath. That's when we inhale, exhale, somehow it has some gap time gap in between of our breath, whether inhalation and exhalation. And like you listen the gap, right? The heart, right? They stop it there. And what happened is our mind gets stuck because it's not our breath doesn't flow naturally. That's why our mind gets stuck there. We couldn't focus on much. Ordinary, no windy, no catching, and stopping, but subtle. But not subtle yet. And our mind still uneven, still not stable yet. Until we have the breath that we would not hear any sound. Just pay attention when you get back. Right? Not today, we don't have much time to practice, but go back and see this the subtle our breath and the stable our mind is. But if we still hear the sound of our breath, that is the time we recognize our mind have not been settled out yet. So we need to recognize this. That's why no sound, stable, content, peaceful, meditative absorption. That's why sometimes, especially for the meditators, we would not hear the sound of the breath. And even the pose, it say that in Buddhist tradition that if someone enter what they call the first stage of meditative state of mind, you would not, when you touch to the pose, you would not feel the pose. And of course, I think if you are experienced meditator, your heartbeat speed is slow, right? You get like that, and that's it late to our breath too. Yeah. So that's the subtle ourselves, this the calm our mind. Okay, let me. Okay, here one more thing. Let's talk about the mind. We have 12:30, right? Do we need to take a break? We need to take a break.
I think we're already at 12 o'clock, right? It's 10:30 to 12.
10:30 to 12, so we have 30 minutes. Okay, you want to have a quick break, or you want me to go overall? Take a break?
Can we stand up? Can we just stand up and stretch?
Oh, sure. Yeah, please. Yeah, please. Yeah, so windy, uneven, ordinary, and subtle. Okay. So let me move on to the next one. Is talking about the mind. What they call the sinking mind. Sinkiness means when our mind murky, dim, forgettable, scattered, especially when yeah, we fall out. And that's what they call sinking. It's better to correct that type of mental state. We need to be alert, to be aware of things, to refocus on the tip of the nose. Again, this is only the remedy or the way how we encounter that type of problems. For me, only when we have this kind of problem, I focus my mind on the tip of my nose. Otherwise, most of the time I just follow the breath. It's just the remedy for these problems. But if you really focus your mind on the tip of your nose, most of the time, sometimes you may have hair problems. You have encountered this kind of problem before? You have encountered this kind of problem when you do meditation, you feel so much headache. How can you resolve that?
I'm not sure.
Not sure. Oh, okay. So if you have so much, that headache on your head, so it's better don't concentrate. Just let things go. And even during the day too, if you have some problem with headache, just stand up. If you stand, for me, I got people that just you can stand up, or you can lean. When you stand, you can lean to the wall or the chair, and just focus your mind on your feet, so that all the energy flow down to the ground instead of here. That's a trick you try. Yeah, because instead of thinking here, the more you think, the more you have headache. But when you stand, all your weight is on your feet, right? And if you focus on around your feet or around, eventually the energy will flow down. So you have to know the balance. Have to know ways that we encounter the problems with our mind. Because thinking, focus on the tip of our nose. And the next one here, This is here. If we curve the body, this is not good position, right? It's not good position, but this is the natural way. And this one need to try to keep the back straight right there. And here, this is what we call the floating. The floating is stomach floating or scatter. Rip off, move about, rumination. That's normal. It happened to everyone. It happened to me too. Most every day too. So because why? We have so much thing to concern in our life. Our jobs, financial support, and so forth and so forth. That's why our mind is racing car. So that's why we have this kind of uneasiness in our mind, in our body, and rip off in the mind and rumination. When you sit there, our mind fly everywhere. Yeah. So the correctness is straighten up the body, focus on navel. Just depend. Again, this is just the remedy. This is the ways how to encounter when we have so much things in our mind, when we have rumination. And this is like we have daydream. Right? When we sit there, right, we think about food, driving, check email, and cell phone, all kind of things there, all kind of thoughts we need to settle down our mind. We have to refocus our mind here. We return the wonder to the focus of the breath. Again, I think last year when they came here, I talked about difficulties of meditation. I focused two important things. One is sleepiness, right? When we fall asleep, or rumination. That's two important. Is that two difficulties that we encounter almost every time that we sit there. So again, this is the way we recognize, we focus our mind, and by focus our mind on the navel, or try to focus on the breath. And the next one, what we call the mental urgency. Urgency, somehow we sit there, we feel that we need to do something. It's urgent. Sometimes we have that feeling, right? But again, that has made us feel that we upward focus we could not focus well. We could not stabilize our mind, and we feel uneasiness of intense pain in chest or somewhere else. So that's why this is one of the problems when we do meditation. And what we do, we need to focus downward movement of breath. It's like that I just told you. If we have the problem with our head, especially with the headache problems, just move our mind down. And here we have that. If you have the kind of urgency, just move our mind downward, so that everything comes down. It's like the balance. And then the balance is of our body and mind. Yeah. If we hungry, we need to eat. But what happens if we eat too much? We create a problem. That's why in Buddhism we say that we need to go middle way, in the balance, middle way. Like we're driving, we cannot swing back and forth, left and right. We need to have to find a balance. Or even while you ride on the boat, right? You sit middle, right? If you sit in either side, your boat might be capsized. Right? So this is why we need to try to balance. Even while we sit in, we have to have balance while we sit in or standing and so forth. So if our mind sink down, we need to uplift our mind, to focus our mind on the tip of the nose. If our mind, if we have the kind of urgency, we need to calm the mind down by focus the mind on the breath, or relax our body and so forth. And here again, laxity, that means, you can say, not a term of laziness. We sit in a slum way, and our mind scatter, lazy, do and so forth. We need to straighten up the body, focus more on the breath. Of course, again, unless we understand the benefit or recognize the benefit of meditation, we would do in the long periods of time. Otherwise, sometimes it's boring. Is that right? Sometimes we say, oh, instead of sitting there, we stand up to check email, to make a phone call with our friends, especially the summertime, right? To do the gardening. to get some vegetables to eat and so forth, to do something more beneficial. But still, because we don't understand or we don't recognize meditation. But if we recognize us, we would have that kind of encouragement to do, to sit for periods of times. So that's why we need to lift up our body, to lift up our mind, is to lift up our spirit to do meditation. Again, this one here. Now here, this is in. That's why I just cover how we recognize the problem of breath, how we recognize the problem of mind. But one thing I want to mention further is that while we do meditation, we need to be careful about our sixth sense. Our sixth sense, the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and the body here, because they affect to our brain. They affect to the state of our mind. If we don't know and take care of them, it's not easy. Like I just told you that before we do meditation, if we watch movie, some emotional movies or some violent movies and so forth, these movies, this image, these scenes may impact in our mind, not the brain, but I'm talking about the mind. There's just no way for us to sit still. That's why we need to take care of brain, our sixth sense, and how we have some flavor. Like our eyes is like the cameras, camcorder. Here, camcorder. All kind of image here. A camcorder, whichever thing we see, whichever thing we recognize, it captured in our mind. It's like here, like camcorder here. And our sound too, the sound, the music, the thing that people talk, the radio show and so forth, may have impact in our mind too. And that's why we need to know how to balance. We need to be selective with the sound, with the image that we look at, and our perception of the skin, the touch that may affect our body and mind, the way how we sleep, the way how we sit, and so forth. And there's this one here, and the taste that in the food, the flavor of the food, may affect our mind. Remember when we sit there, somehow the top may pop up. Oh, I remember that the flavor of my ice cream and so forth, right? So that's may affect our mind too. And here they say that 99 to 93%, that our mind affected by the image, the way we see things, the information that we see, what you call the visual as well, that affect our mind through the image, picture, and so forth we have seen. That's why before meditation, and if we watch movie or even we read some story and so forth, that may disturb our mind. It's not easy to calm the mind. Yes, it's better to read some kind of prayer, some kind of poetry, that kind of preparation for our mind to calm down. That's good. Otherwise, it will be disruption. Here, 20% of what we heard, 65% of what we see and heard, still detained in our mind. Now, the reason why I want to bring up this one is while we sit there, most information that we have to do, what we call rumination, is our memory. Is that right? That's what I'm talking about. That's why we need to be selective. The image, the sound that we see, that we heard. Because when we sit there, all kinds of image, all kinds of sounds will reoccur in our mind. And that's why it's not easy for us to calm the mind down. Especially if we have some kind of strong image or a sound and so forth. That's why in meditation, it's better to pick the neutral object for us to focus. Yes, the breath is neutral object. Now let me put it this way. What happens if you think about your lovely one while you do meditation? What do you think? Can you do that?
No.
Why not?
You're not focused.
Why? Why don't focus?
Because you're thinking of two different things.
Yeah. Okay. Why? When we think about lovely one, it's not easy for us to focus on like why? Yeah, we think about them, we care about them, right? But what happened? Some sort of what? Attachment. Right? And what happened in the other side? What happened? We think about someone that step on our foot. Someone that push our run.
Yeah.
We cannot sit still. That's two poles. One is we attached to our lovely one. One is what we dislike that those people. We have that swimming thought. We talk about that, right? So that's why we need to focus on neutral object, the bread, or even the flower, the color, whichever, that may not trigger our emotions. So that we calm the mind in the natural way, in a neutral way. And that's what I'm talking about here. So we have to be careful with the image, the movies, the sound that we put in our mind. And because our system gather all information and it's stuck here. Laser, even the information that when we were young, when we were little, this information is still here. Right? So we have to be selective with the information there. And to talk about the memories here, that's why we need to be careful about the short-term memory, long-term memory. That's all kind of things that we put in our memories there. And this is for the sensory organs, sensory memories, short-term memory, long-term memory. And we know that sometimes it lasts for 1 or 2 seconds, or even the way I present today is you may remember something, but you may forget other things. So it depends upon how much understanding, how much memories you want to retain. I just want to explain one more thing. Okay, this is the memories, but here, it is, you know this one, right? You know this chart, right? They talk about the consciousness, pre-conscious, subconsciousness. Is, you know this framework, right? But here in Buddhist view, we have sense organs, see object, and we have a consciousness, conscious engagement. This is the thing we want to mention here. It's blurry, huh? Okay, here. The matter is our sense object, and this is it store information. That memories that we have seen, that we have heard, that we have tasted, and so forth in our brain. So that's why we need to process even when we do meditation. And this is how consciousness condition my matter, consciousness. We have the feeling, perception, what we think about, our perception, the formation of our thought, and so forth. Based upon our eyes, our ears, body, and so forth. Based upon this kind of system that interact with the environment. And this in Buddhist view, the eyes, we have the visual skill. The ear have this audio skill and so forth. This interact with the body and mind. And here you see that it's fun fact of our brain. You can say our brain. It can transmit up to 328 feet per second. And here, if you break a cord, of course, don't break it. Just break the cord, right? You could be paralyzed. There are more nerves in human than the star. So one thing, I mentioned here too. One thing I want to mention, the reason why I put this here because our brain processes so fast. Right? All information that's we store here. This is recur again and again, especially our memories. So that's why we need to take care of our memories. We need to take care of which thing that we want to retain in our mind. Otherwise, when we sit there, most of the time, the reason why we have rumination is because of our memories. It takes a lot of time to delete, it takes a lot of time to let them go. It's not easy to let them go. because we detain the older we are, the more we detain the memories here, right? That's why in meditation, if we don't know how to deal with this kind of memories, how to let go of them, most time we just sit there and play with them, like playing video games. Is that right? So anyway, in the Buddhist view, again, this is at a blink of eyes, billion consciousness, we start a fall away. Millions of thoughts come and go through the nerve system in our brain, according to center point, of course, in Buddhist view too, through this the system and so forth here. Process, the sight, the hearing, the touch, the smell, the taste, and with this what we call the sixth consciousness in Buddhist view, and we store all information in our consciousness. What we call in the seven and the sixth we store here. Process of construction. Let me stop here. I want to analyze one more thing so that you can understand that when we sit in meditation, if we don't know the information that we have put in our mind, those information will have what they call disturbance. They will disturb our mind. It's the way the things we saw, the things we watch, the things we interact with other people. That this kind of information will be in our storage. You understand that? That's what I want to present today. Let me go back to the main. The main topic I mentioned here. Yeah, this is during meditation. We have to deal with this domination of the memories, all the information that we store in our memories. And in order to do that, in order to push them out, in order to let them go, we need to recognize, of course, during the day, what information we need to put inside here, inside our mind. And when we sit in meditation, yes, if we focus on our breath, eventually we will let them go. Eventually, we won't pay attention on them. Even they occur again. Even they pop up on our mind again. If we really focus on the breath, they will be what we call shadow sound, shadow views, the shadow pictures, image. So that's why we really need to focus our mind on the breath, right? And since there's a lot of things I want to mention, but since we don't have much time, let me go briefly about after meditation. Before I do that, can anyone have questions about this? So important is why we do meditation. We need to recognize the memories, our memories that we store in our mind. So when we understand that kind of memories, it's just the past. So it's easy for us to let them go. Otherwise, we play around with them. Is that right? Even we know we're not supposed to go back to the past, but we play around with the memories. That's why I try to mention about why we do meditation. Most of the time, these memories disturb our calmness and peacefulness. That's why we need to recognize and let them go, because of course it's the past too. Right? So that's important things I want to focus on my presentation today, especially for the memory. So if we don't let go of memories, it's not easy. It's not easy to remain calm, to remain peaceful. You understand that? Mm-hmm. Right? So again, go back and test out your breath, right? Windy, uneven, normal, ordinary or normal, or subtle, or for the mind that you mentioned about, the thinking, the moody, the urgency, so forth. And that's one on top of the memories. All right, let me use a couple of minutes to go over after meditation. After our meditation, we need to open our mind gently. Then from 1 to 3 minutes to let go, things go back in normal way. So after meditation, after you sit there, especially if you sit more than 30 minutes, don't stand up right away. What happens sometimes you let there be lumps with all this on the spot. Right, so you need to exercise, warm up your body, Right? Your body is gonna open your eyes, the breath will continue to flow naturally. And sometimes you do that, you rub your two hands and press on your eyes. That is warm up. You do warm up for your energy. Why? Because when we sit there in calmness as stillness, our body need to warm up again after meditation. Yeah. And for the mind, and release the breath, go back to the present, and say again, appreciate the people who support you, especially if you sit for more than 30 minutes, or even appreciate our room, our prayer room, our meditation room, or even here, appreciate what that we come together to learn together about how we practice and so forth. Okay, and even after meditation, we need it become naturally. It become our mind tends become naturally in a calm way too. When we're driving the cars, when we cook, when we write the paper or send email to other people, with this calmness, with this peacefulness, it will affect to our life, to our normal life. Not in that way. While we sit in meditation, we feel calm, and when we go there, our minds scattered everywhere, or we have some kind of counteract with the thing that we do. So we have to keep up with that flow, so that we have that kind of peacefulness, that kind of calmness during our life, during our times, during the day. And at night, if you do meditation again, you calm down the mind. So for me, I think it's better if you could do at least twice per day in the morning and even at night. So this is optimum. So me, this is like in the morning when we wake up, we need to refocus our mind. But before we go to sleep, we need to set up everything before we have that kind of beautiful sleep or nice sleep. So we can. Of course, everyone is different, and for now you approach meditation. Alright, so let me sum up what I present today. Again, before meditation, we need to have some kind of preparation. We need to be gentle with our body and mind, not to rush to do something that may irritate our mind. Especially, we need to minimize the complex element and so forth. And while you meditation, watch out our breath. Like as you mentioned recently, go home. Today we don't have time to practice here. Check out to see whether our breath is even, uneven, windy, and so forth. Right? And our mind too, the state of our mind to deal with memories. Remember, things that pop up in our mind, we recognize just memories. And memories, we need to let them go. If we attach to them, we could not have that peaceful mind. All right? And after meditation, just be gentle to get back with the normal state of mind and continue to have that flow, the flow of peacefulness, the flow of calmness. Okay? So before I end, any question? Yes?
Do you know if there's a trip planned to the monastery from the Earth and Spirit Center?
I don't know. Let me talk with Reverend Joe. So let me see. So many of you, some of you have been up to my monastery before.
No.
And actually, he just asked me the question. That place is for individual retreat, but they don't. We have one center. We are building one center on the old Third Road. It's just not too far away from our old temple on the New Cut Road. A few minutes, a couple miles. We have the new construction over there. Hopefully within 1 or 2 years we have that type of center for people to come to the meditation community.
What is your lineage of your?
The
Yeah.
Zen tradition.
Zen.
Yeah. I actually, that's one of the reasons why I become a Buddhist monk. I love meditation when I was layman, and I feel that I could have that type of training to have a peaceful life. Of course, in our temple, because of the communities center, so people come and do the prayer, do mantra recitation, and so forth. It's like in any spiritual center that serve communities. And sometimes I do wedding ceremony, funeral service, and so forth. Like the Reverend Joe, he didn't take care of the followers. Any more questions? All right, so thank you.
Thank you.